Got my camo on. Throwing your phone at me. I'll open up by saying that exciting week for Arizona basketball. Congrats to our men last night. Huge win. I think the whole city's talking about it. And it just reminds you of those last-second situations that are crazy and how the tournament events can happen so fast. So really happy for Tommy and the men's basketball team. We have a tall task this week, or the next probably 10 days is pretty rough patch for us. Playing at Utah and at Colorado back-to-back are pretty tough. But it's better we're not playing one weekend. But to go there, that's a big game for us.
And the last couple of years, what we always think about that mountain trip, the altitude and all that, hasn't really bothered you. But this year you have this younger team. What do you think how do you think they're going to react to all of that?
Well, I think it's just the altitude and also it's a hard place to play. They have a lot of success there, but they also have a high octane offense. With that runs and it's pretty athletic, and they're a really good team. I think they lost some games because McQueen was out, and she's a vital part of their team. But they're really good. They move the ball really fast. They're hard to guard. They make you pay for mistakes. Their actions are really tough to guard, and they kind of picked us apart in Tucson. We had a hard time scoring against them, so we have to make some tweaks. We have to get better at some things and play a lot better to have a chance to win there.
As far as how's Lauren?
She's good. She'll be back. She'll be back for this game. She's actually back now. But obviously, last game it hurt not having her, but we shot the ball pretty well because other people stepped up. Jaw's back in the swing of things. I think Isis and Bray are playing at a high level. Paulina's playing really good. So I think Jada, I think everybody's in a really good place, feeling confident after the West Virginia win because they're a really solid defensive team. For us to score the way we did it, I'm happy about that.
Jada, I know off and on she wears that boot. That's just precautionary stuff, or what's up with that?
Yeah, so just a banged up foot. It's like one of those nagging injuries you've had all season that, like her and Sky, you're just going to kind of maintain. It's kind of like Lauren, your shoulder's sore. If you really get hit, you're going to probably brace it a little bit. So I think it's just the February or approaching February, bumps and bruises throughout the season. It was funny because yesterday we were going to practice, but a lot of people were out or really tired. So I was like, well, we might as well not practice, and we just went to a restaurant to eat, so they were happy as ever. Whenever they can miss practice, they're always happy. But we're in a good place. I think we're feeling good. Our offense is clicking. I think defensively we've done some good things. So I think we're in a good place and happy. But now we got to do that on the road.
How important do you think was not only beating a top-ranked team, but also beating them without your shooter to give everybody confidence for the next couple of games?
Yeah, it was a really important win without being full strength, and especially the way that Lauren's been playing lately. So I did have a concern knowing we're going to be zone pressed, knowing we're going to face the zone, and not having our best shooter that's really shooting the ball really well right now. So that was a concern. It was kind of like, ooh, how are we, especially when they came out in the zone, it was like, this could be a long night. But we shot the ball well. I think Jada and Paulina, Mylene, the whole team stepped up, and we ran some pretty good offense. So I was happy with the way we responded. And I think we'll just be even better bringing Lauren back because she can be like the zone buster sometimes. And we hadn't traditionally shot the ball well from the three-point line as a team. So, yeah, I'm glad we were able to win without her. But she's important. We got to get her back confident, feeling good, especially for the next 2 out of 3 road games. So it's a tough stretch for us.
And your guards obviously have picked up their play since your challenge to them. We've seen a lot of different things from Jada and from Paulina. Jada has more assists now.
Yes.
Even
Less
in the
turnovers.
last 3 games, she's averaging more assists. And Paulina's been a little bit more aggressive even on offense. What are you seeing in both of those players?
I think that they both just want to win, and I think they're both selfless and willing to set aside some things or do things that they're uncomfortable doing. I think Paulina is getting her in the right space with confidence, and she was attacking some really athletic guards and playing at a really high level. So proud of her, and then shooting the ball well. But she's been pretty consistent for us, but she stepped up when we needed it. I think she also understands as a more veteran player that we weren't going to have Lauren, so she knows she's one of our best shooters too. So her hitting those shots was essential for us to win. And then I think that Jada is understanding she's got to really get the team involved and set up the team and not hold the ball. And a lot of that's not her fault. I think a lot of how we get stagnant at the end of shot clocks was because like she had also the mentality to not be afraid to take some of those shots. So some of that was twofold. I think some people weren't as comfortable. She was comfortable. So, but then I think also just knowing she doesn't have to do that, and we're running more offensively. And I think it's just it's taking a lot of pressure off of her. And she's doing a good job of running us, vocal on the court, which she's always has been, but really taking pride in like setting her teammates up and understanding to get them the ball when they're hot. And I saw her do that a lot with Paulina, and even Mylene. Like Paulina's hit one, then she'd drive and kick it to her. And those are things that she's young, and I think you understand that. You watch more film, you watch how the season progresses, and you watch how your team plays, and I think that's a growth process. So she's grown a lot this year, because I think a month ago she wasn't doing that as much. And I think her teammates are responding, playing well. I think their chemistry's been good, so I think it's all positive.
And Mylene, bringing her in and like having Jada off the ball sometimes, just how important has Mylene's progression been to everyone else's success?
Extremely important. So if you remember 2 months ago, Mylene was like a walking turnover. Like Mylene was turning the ball over in the first possessions of the games when she was at the point guard. And I think she's just gotten better. She's understanding how to pass the ball. Like she's playing against a lot more athleticism than she did in the past. And she's made that adjustment. And most players, it takes over a year to do that. And she's playing a lot of minutes. She's been in and out of a starting role. I think she understands the importance. I think that's given her confidence. And it enables us to move Jade off the ball. Now, for a while, we were putting Mylene as a point guard, but then she was turning it over too much, so then we moved her from the point guard position. So to be able to play her at the 3, 2, and 1 is important for us, because sometimes it's purely the time on the court and the numbers of minutes. Like, it's hard for Jada to be, like, pressing, running the team for like 37 minutes. So I've been trying to also put down her minutes a little bit, but sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I try, but then I look, I'm like, oh, she still played 34, because she's our true point guard. And then a lot of times we needed Paulina for shooting, especially when Lauren's out. So that takes her away from being the one. So I think it's just not having a lot of depth in that position. We need another point guard. And we need to be able to, you always need 3 that can play the 1. I think, but putting Mylene in and out, and but then I also like Mylene at the wing because she's a phenomenal rebounder. So there's like, I think we do need more depth in that position, but I think Paulina has done a great job stepping up. I think Jada has been willing to play on and off the ball, which is good, and she's shooting the ball better now, so she can. So I think all of those things play into us playing better.
When you look back to the first few games of the season last year, and you talked about things like the turnovers we were making, and you talked about, just wanting to see, or how certain players like Lauren were going to be great shooters, and to see all of that happen, and you're now in the place that you talked about being in at the beginning of the season, how much hope, I guess, or confidence does that give you, and not only the players, but like your coaching staff and your coaching style?
I think it gives us a lot of confidence. I think just knowing that we can develop and get players better. I think but we knew that. I think that we have confidence in that we're going to develop players, and sometimes it's not at the pace that they want or we want. Sometimes it takes time because they all want immediate gratification. But if they stick with the process, they will get better. I think there's still so many things that Lauren needs to work on, but it's awesome seeing her do the things she has done, which I didn't think we'd get that from her freshman year. She's also had injuries, been in and out. Like, here's an example. She gets a concussion, she's out. So every time she's like playing really well, she gets like a setback. But that's a part of the process. And learning how to deal with that's the journey. And I think that even makes her better for later. And then getting her just a little bit more resilience and tougher, that's also the process too. So I think big picture, I love Lauren, want to coach her for a long time. I want to coach her for my whole career here, or her eligibility. And I think she can be really special. And I think she can be a really good defensive player too. But most shooters always have just been shooters. They haven't taken their pride in defense. But she's also has a mid-range game. So I think you're going to see her get better and better and better, like Helena. But she's a natural gifted shooter and scorer. But getting her in tip-top shape, getting her to learn the game a little bit more, and I think those are little things that we can do. So it's been fun to watch her develop. Yeah.
So I just want to ask you about Brea. She's still picking up fouls, but it seems later in the game, so she's not having to sit out in that, whole second quarter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you have to do to make sure that happens, that you could still have her through that second quarter so you don't have those dips there?
Yeah, well, she's gotten so much better. It's funny because now she's like turning into this defensive stopper. So I think she has more pride in that. Like she was not like that last year. It was really like poor defensively. But I think it's overall confidence. She's having so much success on one end, feeling good. She's worked really hard in the off season. She's worked really hard to get stronger, worked on her footwork, and I think she's seeing the fruit of her labor. So then you get more confident. Before, she would never be able to play the defense she has against these top offensive players. So that's been fun to see. I think she still has the little letdowns when she's tired, but I can read it more too. Like if she's getting really tired, I need to pull her for a second because that's when a stupid foul's coming. But she's in such a better mental space of having confidence in the things she's doing and not getting down on herself. Or if we go to a certain type of pick and roll, she's not like, oof. She used to be like nervous about it. I think she's just more confident in it. So I think that leads to what a lot of her success is, offensively and defensively. And then people are talking about it. Like I challenged the guards. I said, well, the post players have been holding it down the last 3 or 4 games. They've played against better post players, and they've done a good job. So now it's kind of switched. We're playing against these teams that have better guards, or more guard oriented, not better guards, but more guard. Or West Virginia is like scoring on the 1, 2, and 3 position. So now the guards have to step up, and they did. So now Utah, same thing. They're really good guards. They have good post players too, but better guards. So the guards have to step up. And it's a team thing, but I think for everybody taking pride in that. And I think that's what Paulina and Jada and Mylene stepped up to. And Sky, we're not talking about Sky. Sky's done a great job of, she's came off the bench the last few games. It's not ideal, but she's done really, really well in coming in and changing the game. So I think them getting the team, this young team, to understand, like, it's not about that. It's like about what's best at the time and who's performing the best, how we start the games. Like there's so many factors, and young players don't realize that. And sometimes, like think about Helena. She was a sixth woman for years, but she was awesome because she could come in and change the game. And so I think that stuff doesn't matter, and they're all in a good place and playing at a high level. So I just want to continue to figure out how to keep that going.
What have you been working on, or what are you working on this week? Because I know there are little things every week.
Yeah, like when I looked back at the Utah game from last game, just working on some things defensively, I felt like we didn't do well. The way we guarded some actions, the way we guarded some, being out of position and a lot of stuff, and letting their offense go really fast. If you let their offense keep the same pace, you're going to lose because their offense moves fast. Like sometimes we have some of the same plays. I'm like, that's how it's supposed to look. Like it just moves. But they have like McQueen and those are their guards are really good and move well. Like they move without the ball. They read. They have great cohesiveness and chemistry. And that's why it's hard to play against teams that have fifth year seniors because they've been playing together for a long time. And you could tell with the way their offense flows. So we have to be able to cut the timing and spacing on things. And we got to be able to shoot the ball well because they kind of play the pack line. It's all, packed in. And so we couldn't score. And I think that we're playing better offense now. So we have to keep that going and figuring out how to do that. And then defensively just have to be solid there, rebounding. And their handoffs and stuff are really hard to guard. You go under, they shoot behind it. You go over, they turn the corner because it comes fast. So just have to make some adjustments in that and slow the ball down. So in Utah. It's hard. I'm telling you, in the Pac-12, every single coach that had Utah and Colorado on their schedule, they were like, dang. Because it was just a trend. It used to be Friday, Sunday. This is way easier in the Big 12. It's way better for recovery and athletes because Friday, Sunday was brutal. And now at least you get to come home in between. We have more time. So it's a lot easier in that sense. And I think it's better for our student athletes.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Is that why you